I'm a non-vegetarian. And my question to you is, how can, since most of us are living in hostels here, we go to the mess, we have our food there. We are dependent on the mess for our food. How feasible would it be for a college student to convert to veganism? We take into consideration his nutritional requirements, also spendings, how much he can invest, how much more he has to invest in order to convert to veganism, and time constraints. He does not have time to cook for himself. So considering these three problems, how can a college student who's living in a hostel convert to veganism?
Okay. First things first, since you already have a plant-based society here, I cannot speak exactly about IIT Madras because obviously I'm not from here, but they'll probably be able to give you a much better idea for those who live in the hostel is what I assume. But let's leave that aside. Are you allowed to cook anything at all? I know you said you can't, but just asking, anything at all are you allowed to cook in your campus, in your dorms? Can you cook?
I mean, some hostels have kitchens.
Some hostels have kitchens? Yeah. Okay. So, would you be able to spare, say, just 15 to 20 minutes a day? If that's possible, if you eat, say, right now, only sweet potatoes and chickpeas for the next 3 years, along with the B12 supplement, you will get literally every nutrient your body needs. I'll tell you why. It's shocking to hear. Chickpeas, first of all, for human beings, we need to consume vitamin C, else we'll get something known as scurvy. Because in the ancient days, when sailors used to go on ships, they used to die because of lack of vitamin C. We also need vitamin A because it's important for our eyesight. If we don't get it, we'll eventually develop night blindness. The cool thing about sweet potatoes is they're loaded with beta-carotene, which your body converts into vitamin A because they're that orange flesh, right? And then they also have plenty of vitamin C in them. They are also high in carbohydrates. So first of all, you hit the two absolute essential vitamins, and you're also hitting a lot of glucose for your body. Next thing is, chickpeas are high on the protein side. So when you eat a diet, like say, for an example's sake, an experiment's sake, you had to lock someone up in a room right now, and you chose to feed them only sweet potatoes, water, chickpeas, and a B12 supplement every day for the next 1 year. When they came out of the room the next year, I will guarantee you my life, they will be in actually far better shape than what they are right now. Because there's no junk food or anything in it. You'll actually hit all of your nutritional requirements just through these foods. Now, I am not asking you only to eat that. You obviously have to explore your options. But let's say I was in a situation right now where I am a student here, and the only option is I can only eat sweet potatoes and chickpeas. I'll do that till I die. Because my human body can survive on that. It is not that complicated. And number two, that little inconvenience of, say, my diet being a bit boring, or, the only thing is it's boring. Trust me, nutritionally, you will meet everything. I mean, that's much more irrelevant than the life of that chicken. I mean, that animal does not have to endure such a painful life just for the taste pleasure for mine. Similarly, you don't have to complicate this. If you don't like that, I am not able to immediately off the top of my head think of many meals to just throw at you. But that one thing does come to mind. Just sweet potatoes and chickpeas, you're actually studying. Do you know an app called Chronometer? Have you heard of it? So it's an app online where what you can do is you can log into it, and it'll ask you to input your height, your weight, your age, and your physical activity level. Based on that, do you know what's the meaning of the word calories? You know what calories mean? Calories is the amount of energy you need per day. So based on all those stipulations, it will decide and let you know you need this much calories per day, this much protein per day, this much calcium per day. And what you can do is just input a diet of sweet potatoes and chickpeas there and see how everything fills up green, tick, 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 because that will fill up everything. So whatever may be the case, as a vegan who believes in the fact that animals have the right to be on earth just like me, no matter what situation you put me in, whatever minor inconvenience I might face, I will always choose to face that over ever exploiting or hurting another animal ever again in my life. So that's my answer.
So thank you for that answer. So my next question is, I've been also researching on this topic, and I've been looking at the kind of exploring the economic side of it. So recently, India is basically importing its pulses, right? So let's say all of us turn into vegans. We increase the quantity, the consumption of pulses increases. Now the thing is, because of the deficit, according to numbers I remember, it was 10 initially. Now currently it has gone to somewhere around 140 per kg. Price of pulses has increased.
Oh, price, okay.
Yeah. So the thing is, if more people, if one fine day we all decide to be vegans, the economics, how does the economics support veganism? India is a pulse importing country. Will people even be able to afford pulses to meet their protein requirements, which they are sacrificing because of not eating non-veg?
Now, regarding the prices, understand that basic economics, the more the consumption of a product and the more widespread the consumption is, the prices usually go down. If, like you said, we move towards a vegan world right now, the government will realize that, oh my God, people right now are not eating much meat and dairy, they're eating more plants. We have to start subsidizing the production of plant-based food. Because right now, if we take 1 kg of chicken for actually what it is, without subsidies, you got to agree it'll go in the thousands of rupees. It's because that day the chicken farmer is given the egg, that embryo, for such a low price. He's given an incubator probably for free by the government. He's also given chicken feed for such a low price. Even all the animal farmers who feed the cows and buffaloes these wheat gram and peanut cake, it's all given at such a reduced price. Why? Because our taxpayer money is used to subsidize this, because that is the major demand of society. So when the major demand now moves from animal to plant, the government will obviously have to subsidize this instead, and therefore prices can be maintained, right? Because the government's in charge right now. Because if we look at it, 1 liter of milk is probably 60 bucks right now. 1 liter of milk, maybe 60 rupees should be, 60, 70 rupees. That's because they subsidize it. If they start subsidizing chickpeas and other dals, the price rates will go really down. But when will they start doing that? Only when there is a vast majority of us demanding that. And when will we start demanding? Only when we start changing. So yeah, things will work out in the end.
Okay. So my third question is, I get it that you're not, the main fundamental problem here is the treatment of animals in places where meat is made, right?
In a way, yes, you can say that.
The treatment of animals. So why isn't this argument, why are we not trying to change the practices that are happening there, instead of, going up to non-vegetarians and, you attaching some form of shame in eating non-veg, right? So after this session, let's say I'm here, are all of you non-vegetarians? Are all of you vegetarians here?
No, definitely not.
Different people are from different backgrounds, but the act of eating non-veg is with every passing day becoming shameful. But shouldn't this reform be made in places of where the butchers are? Shouldn't practices be made more ethical? Like you're saying, let's say from maybe we can reduce the pain the animal feels when it's being butchered. You use anesthesia. You maybe supply CO2. These are few practices I've read about. Why don't we implement these in places where these animals are bred?
Okay. We vegans are not fighting for that for the exact same reason human rights activists are not saying, please kill innocent civilians after giving them CO2 or after giving them anesthesia. For the same reason why if in a court right now, we had someone who is, say, a child molester, and the judge is saying, I accuse you of what you did. But Your Honor, I made sure the child was unconscious. No, an act of evil is always evil, regardless of how we do it. It's not how we do the act of evil. It's that we do the act of evil. Eating meat in itself is not necessarily the condemnation here. The condemnation is that in order for you to get meat on your plate, it has to come from the body of an animal. Like, we cannot distance ourselves from the process, because if I am eating it right now, that means I am paying my money for the process, right? I cannot say I'm not a part of it. I am a part of it. So we are calling out the animal abuse happening there. If, say, tomorrow magically, like a fantasy world, like meat starts. Have you seen this movie called something cloudy with a meatball? Have you seen that movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? Okay, in that movie it rains meat from the sky. If that were to happen tomorrow, I have zero problems. I don't have a problem with you eating meat. But the meat we get right now in this world comes from animal exploitation. That I condemn. If tomorrow they manage to take out, like, say, just an animal serum and cultivate meat in a lab and you eat it, I have no problem. It's not the meat that's the problem. You get it right. It's the fact that an animal had to suffer for that. That is the problem. And regarding the use of the word shame, you are saying that there is more and more shame regarding meat consumption these days. Well, I am saying that it's the exact opposite if you look at the way the trend is going. I mean, there are so many meat shops opening up everywhere. I come from a vegetarian Tamil background, and I used to eat meat all my life up until 10 years ago. And I know plenty of vegetarians, even Jains I have seen, who are now moving over and eating meat. So I don't see much shame coming at all. And was there any particular part that I spoke here in this speech that made you feel like I'm shaming? Like, was there anything particular I said like that? No, nothing like that. So yeah, there is no shame. I think I understand that definitely it's a touchy subject, okay? Food is a very personal thing, just like how religion and politics is. I won't go to my friend's house there and put my foot over another leg and then start speaking there about politics and condemning them, because if I did that, they'll say, get the hell out of my house. The whole point is that even food is very touchy, but this has to be brought up because there is a victim here. And the thing is that when we talk about veganism, we have to always keep the victim in mind. We cannot erase them. The chicken, the fish, the pig, the cow have to be kept in mind, and we have to think from their perspective. If I were a chicken, a pig, and a cow, if you were one, would you agree with what you're saying? That's the whole point. Let's use empathy and think from their position. That's it, man.
Final question here will be, let's think from the perspective of a sportsman.
Mm-hmm.
How many athletes, or let's say people whose protein consumption is more than the average human?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
How many examples are there of such people who are into veganism?
Well, I can name a few. Of course, the sample size is small because the sample size of vegans in and of itself is small, right? But have you heard of Lewis Hamilton? 7-time Formula 1 racer, ethical vegan. Have you heard of Novak Djokovic, the tennis Wimbledon champion? Vegan. Serena Williams and Venus Williams, female tennis champions, both in the singles and double divisions, they are not vegan. They are plant-based, meaning that I'm a vegan. Say, for example, like you came and told me, bro, it's my birthday, here, take a chocolate. I'll be like, whoa, is there milk in it? If you gave that to Serena, she'll be like, yeah, cool, she'll eat it. Because for her, it's not about the ethics. At that moment, when it comes to her training, she eats only plant-based food for better performance. Have you heard of something known as a strongman competition? Not bodybuilding or weightlifting or powerlifting. It's called strongman. Anybody heard of strongman competitions? There are these giant people who lift these stones that weigh like 150 kg. They pull airplanes, push trucks and stuff. The strongest man in Germany for several years, his name is Patrick Baboumian, is a vegan. And he is one of the strongest human beings who has ever walked planet Earth. As in, right now he holds a world record that is still not beaten, where he is the human being who carried the most amount of weight on his shoulders. And after carrying it, he walked forward for 10 minutes. I think he carried like some 680 kilograms on his back, more than half a ton. Then let's come to India. Kuntal Joisher from Mumbai. That man climbed Mount Everest, I think, twice. As a vegan, he went on top of Mount Everest and then he put the vegan flag just to show that, look, vegans can reach the top of Everest. So these are a few examples I can give. Just Google vegan athletes. There are a lot more. They do exist. I'm not saying that vegans have necessarily an advantage in athletics, but they do keep their ethics over their athleticism, and even then they still succeed in their sport. So that does exist.
Thank you for your answers.
Thank you so much.